signs of fear, of despair. But the signs of fear and despair can change the people's course of action. For example, you go to the doctor, your blood pressure is 200, everything is, you have a heart problem, all of that. The doctors tell you, stop eating this, stop eating this, stop eating this, do exercise in the morning, so on and so forth. But on one hand, he gave you, otherwise you're going to be admitted, you're going to have a heart attack, you're going to die. Some people take that advice and implement it. Other people say, oh, I don't care. I'm going to eat whatever I'm eating and so on and so forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the same thing. For example, we had like 3 years ago, coronavirus. You know, everybody, trucks loaded of dead people, New York City, all over the world. You know, there was people, everybody was wearing masks. There was no prayers in the masjid. There was no prayers in churches. There was nothing. And this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending this ayat to us to let us know that there is a purpose. You have a function of this life. This life is not created for a game. It's not a play. It's not nothing. There is a purpose of that life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to send us this ayat. But unfortunately, you see 2 years after, we have so many massacres all over the world. Sudan, Congo, Ukraine, and the biggest one, of course, Moscow, and the biggest one right now in Gaza and Palestine. Yeah, that's in addition to all what happened, in all these other countries, injustice and all that stuff which is happening. Killing people, taking people to jails, they don't deserve to. Anybody who's saying the truth is being subjected to persecution. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this, the following ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing the root cause of all the 95% of all the problems happen is because of what? The shaitan. And the problems which came from the shaitan, the encounter between the shaitan and Adam alayhi salam. The same thing like we said before, when you go to the doctor, 95% of all what people have from health problems, diabetes, pressure, cholesterol and all that stuff, diet and exercise. Same thing, Allah repeated diet and exercise. Same thing you're going to see here throughout the whole book of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeating that encounter almost 11 times. The encounter between Adam, the shaitan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning one very important concept, that I recognized the human being. I give him recognition. I give him dignity. I make him honorable. You see what I'm saying? I give him honorable. You see all the other creatures are walking, their head is facing down. We're upright. The intellect, علمه البيان. He teaches the intellect and how to express your ideas, how to make projects, how to make with all kind of factories, with all kind of very complex ideas. You can demonstrate those on paper or on reality, so on and so forth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given us all these kind of ability, karramna, recognized, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also will, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning why he's giving, because he's telling you get somebody, for example, you have a company, and you get somebody to work for you as a CEO or a manager. You give him his office, you give him his staff, supporting staff, but unfortunately, after you do all this stuff, you give him his company card, you give him the 401k, you give him the pensions, you give him the bonuses. Unfortunately, after all of this, he doesn't follow your orders. Number two, he steals from the company. Okay, so that's the same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling, I gave you all of these good things. I made the earth for you. I made the animals around you for you. I made everything for you. And at the end of the day, you disobey me. So that's very important for us to understand. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ. So all the malaika came and we asked them to recognize Adam. It's only that prostration was for recognition. Look at this creature I have created. Honor him, recognize him. إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ قَالَ أَأَسْجُدْ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا. Iblis said, which is the shaitan, he said what? Do I prostrate to somebody you have created from dirt? Basically. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he could have created the human being from anything else. But he made it from tin. as what? As a test for Iblis. Like this word, we said the purpose of this word is what? Testing. Nothing, everything. You get the money for a test. You become poor for a test. You get a kid for a test. You got everything you get is testing. Allah's testing you. Same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing Iblis. Iblis, are you gonna follow my orders? Or are you gonna have a sense of what? Jealousy. Sense of you are better. And this is what's exactly happening in this ayat. Iblis asjud liman khalaqta. So the jealousy came out, and he became so arrogant, and he said, no, you created him from dirt. How come? Exactly. قال أرأيتك هذا الذي كرمت عليه. So you say, oh, give me a chance. This one who you have dignified, who you have honored. كرمت عليه means you have given him a higher status than me. Give me chance. كرمت عليه لئن أخرتن إلى يوم القيامة لأحتنكن ذريته إلا قليلا. Give me time until the day of judgment. Those who you are made preferred over me, I will make them what? I will make them straight. I will have لأحتنكن, basically I will have a control over them. إلا قليلا. All of his what? All of his offspring, all of his progeny, except a few of them. I might not have a control over them. And you see the challenge, very big challenge from Iblis, and still up till now, the people following, Iblis is in where? In the driving seats. Unfortunately, he's driving a lot of people, the majority, behind him in his car. He's driving them where? Hellfire. Exactly. قال اذهب فمن تبعك منهم فإن جهنم جزاؤكم جزاء موفورا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let Iblis go out of the heaven, because this happened in heaven. Go out and let's start the test. Whoever will follow you, فإن جهنم, indeed Jahannam, the hellfire, جزاؤكم جزاء مغفورا, will be the punishment, will be your destination, and it's going to be the worst, the abundant punishment. واستفزز من استطعت. The word استفزز mean just to try to incite them, ignite, start the problems. You see sometimes problems happen from nowhere. Somebody step on somebody's foot, then the guy starts the problem. Then from here, he incite that you hear in the news, ended up somebody's killing another person. You see road rage accidents. People stop, and then somebody gets a gun, and you see it's killing the other person. That's incite. Make it big. Something small, he makes it big, huge. So people will get out of their control. Al-ghadab. That's why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said what? The strong Muslim, the strong mu'min, the one who what? Control himself. When he in a state of rage, like when you are become raged, something happened you don't like, whatever, and you control yourself.
Yes.
This is the strong, because once you're not controlling yourself, the shaitan will take over, and he will make you do stuff you regret. A lot of times happen. People are just like, no, he said that word. It's happening, especially here in the United States. You see, somebody says something to somebody in a store or whatever. He go gets a gun, go kill the guy. Happens all the time. So we have to understand patience. You see, he's trying to, you see traffic, you see things like that, the shaitan will gonna incite. You, for example, okay, I will, at home, you say something, then the wife says something back, then you say something back, then the wife says something back, then so on. A lot of people you see ending up domestic violence, breaking half of the house. It happens. That's why we have a big problem. We have a big problem as a Muslim ummah, because of unable to control. We have to be patient, able to control this comes from the shaitan. the rage and be able uncontrollable, creates a lot of problem. And then people what? People at the end of the day, they recognize that they're in a problem when they see the end results. Next day he's sleeping in jail or prison.
Yes.
And that's just when I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it. And the shaitan, at that point when he increases, oh no, they're not respecting you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to have a asfah, have safh, have some kind of forgiveness to others. I mean, yes, you're not gonna be a winner every day. If somebody tells you something you don't like or something bad or whatever, just let it go. You don't have to keep picking up on every word and make a big deal out of it and fight with everybody around you. Otherwise, you can't live. واستفزف بصوتك. This is even with his voice, with your voice. واغلب عليهم بخيلك ورجلك وشاركهم في الأموال. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that even that shaitan, that devil, he has an army. Some, like the soldiers who walking, this is بخيلك ورجلك وخيلك also, and some are riding. So he has a big army, so you have to be careful. وشاركهم في الأموال. How they شاركهم في الأموال? What's I mean شاركهم في الأموال? Mean share with them their money, their wealth. How? By asking you or pushing you to spend your money in illegitimate cause, or holding money for legitimate cause. For example, people are, for example, like say non-Muslims or illegitimate causes. You can say gambling, alcohol, and drugs, and even luxury beyond the means. Too much to show off.
Yes.
Or competing between you and your brother, so on and so forth. So life become a competition, not become a competition in who is the best in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but becomes who is the best in this life. So that becomes the main course of action, and this is a big problem. Then في الأموال والأولاد. How the أولاد? The أولاد is by neglecting their upbringing, from day one. Upbringing, what kind of upbringing? Upbringing in knowing Tawheed, knowing Allah, knowing the Islam. Because if you don't put the seeds while they are growing up, it's very hard to change the course of the action. Because you have a stronger society around you. Society which is controlled by the leaders of kufr, the leaders of misbelief. They have TikTok, they have the Facebook, they have the Instagram, they have YouTube, they have all kind of stuff. They have public school system or school system which is infiltrating ideas for 10 years, 11 years. He doesn't have the capacity to be able to understand them. That's why the crisis ending happen. 11, 12, 13 years old, pregnant. In New York City, if you go, you'll see that. It's happening all the time.
All over the world.
All over the world. So that is why upbringing, taking that, because that's when the state of, when like he said, look, we have a computer and the hard disk is empty. I start to put the files. After I put the files, it's very hard for it to get corrupted. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and even the hadith of Rasulullah, he said, سبعة يظلهم الله تحت ظله. 7, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have the shade. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's shade in the day of judgment. شاب نشأ في طاعة, youth. Okay, he being raised in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's a huge thing to have. To have that kind of seed, growing the right way. And that's what the shaitan, send them there, let them go and do this or any other things other than La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah in the course of action. And let them understand the religion. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What happened to the people who don't follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because after that, you will not have an ability to change. If the society took him over, he'll be listening to who? To his friends. And then they are the one who will be able to direct him. وَعِدْهُمْ. عِدْهُمْ means give him promises. promises. Promise after a promise. And that is one of the biggest problems. Everybody, it's like holes. Go, and the hole is covered. The hole is covered. But you go and it's covered. Oh, there's something good here. He put you $100,000 or $200,000. Oh, go bring him from here. But once you go trying to get there, yep, you fall in the hole. Why? Because there's something you're not supposed to do. You have done to get that. And then after that, you regret it. وَعِدْهُمْ وَمَا يَعِدْهُمُ الشَّيْطَانِ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is basically describing the promise of the shaitan, of the devil, as ghurur. What's the ghurur means? Illusion, deceiving. Usually he puts what? We said before, the poison in chocolate. He put the poison inside a chocolate. So, it's a chocolate. It's something good to eat. It's something good to do. But at the end, you're gonna get the side effects, and you'll see the destruction. Inna ibadi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is answering right now to the shaitan. So this is what the shaitan will be able to do to change the people and to make the people obedient to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, Inna ibadi, indeed my servants, indeed my slaves, laysa laka alayhim sultan. You have no control over them. Again, what's the word? Ibad. How to be an abdulillah? How to be a slave of Allah? Obedience. How you do obedience? You look at the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his Sahaba. It is nothing out of the curriculum. That's the curriculum. Prophet Muhammad and his Sahaba. There is the curriculum. These are the people who I have to follow. There is nobody else. If the Prophet did this, I'll do it. The Prophet didn't do it, I don't do it. The Sahaba did this, I'll do it. The Sahaba didn't do this, I don't do it. Simple as it is. That's the curriculum. These are the ibad. This is what. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. He have praised the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ so many times in the Quran. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٌ عَظِيمٌ, for example. So you see what's khuluq. What was the behavior, the character of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and I try to replicate it. This is the Prophet. This is my control. Any test in the whole world, you see what's happening in the test. You have a standard, and you have a sample, and they call it the control. This is our control in Islam, is the Prophet and his Sahaba. I have to make sure I'm doing something which they have done. Because they are the one who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, they are the winners. They are the winners in the hereafter. So I look at them, I look at the seerah. How would I know if I don't even know anything about their seerah, about their life? What did they did for Islam? What did they did for the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam? So on and so forth. I have to know their legacy, the legacy of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, and try to follow them, and try to replicate, be part of that control, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have provided. So inna ibadi, meaning becoming as a slave of Allah, the same way as the Prophet and his Sahaba have been. لَيْسَ لَكَ عَلَيْهِمْ سُلْطَانٌ. Indeed, you have no control over them, no power over them. وَكَفَى بِرَبِّكَ وَكِيلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said what? I will be their lawyer. I will be their attorney. I will be the one who taking care of their affairs. Once they submit it to me, once they become a real slaves to me, I'm the one who's going to deliver them. The wakil. You know what the wakil means? Wakil is somebody who is like a lawyer. You tell him, do whatever the best for me. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. Once they submit it, 100%, I'll do the best for them. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a different ayah said, Inna Allah yudafi'. Inna Allah yudafi'. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who push away. He defend those who believed, who are believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You just have to believe, you have to do, and you have to have the intentions. Ya Allah, I will do everything you asked me to do, on the tongue of your Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and the Sahaba. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of you. رَبُّكُمُ الَّذِي Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after that, He's mentioning the ni'am, the blessings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have provided to us. رَبُّكُمُ الَّذِي يُجْدَى لَكُمُ الْفُلْكِ فِي الْبَحْرِ Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made, you have to imagine, if there is no ships, if there is no bahr, means with no seas, there's no oceans, what's going to happen? There is no trade, there is no economy, there is a lot of things. Until this time, this is happening from where? 1400 years ago, when this Quran was revealed. Same thing. The ships are even a measure when something happened in the routes in the sea. You see, this trade is happening. The Houthis in Yemen are exploiting this and that. You see a lot of problems happen. So that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يُزْجِي لَكُمُ الْفُلْكِ فِي الْبَحْرِ He's the one who provides you with fulk. And you just come innocently. Before they didn't have that sophisticated kind of ships. But you have to understand that the first thing they started is from the wood. The wood made what? A ship, yes?
Yeah.
Imagine if the wood doesn't float on the water. What would happen? There was no even ship. But we take this stuff for granted. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He had to make the wood float on the water. Imagine you put a piece of iron or steel, it's gonna sink. So this is all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by design. When you have an engineer designing a house, he'll tell you, we'll do this here, we'll put an isolation here, we'll do this here. He knows what he's talking about. Before the same thing, Allah designed this. So we have to understand how Allah's ni'am. وَإِن تُعِدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا If you count the blessings, if you count the givings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're never gonna recognize them. You'll never be able to count them. فِي الْبَحْرِ So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the ships go smoothly in the oceans, in the sea. لِتَبْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِهِ Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even He's mentioning this specifically to the Arabs at that time, because their main sustenance, provision in Mecca was from trade. You see the word fulk, the wheel ships, is repeated so many times because they're traders, they're businessmen. So without this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have that system, you won't even have that much wealth. I'm the one who made you wealthy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, لِتَبْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا Indeed, He was most merciful. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we said the word merciful. What's the word merciful means? It's not just being merciful to make you. No, merciful means taking care of you totally. The same way a baby in his mother womb. I want you, when you hear the word Rahim, to imagine a baby in his mother's womb. What happened to him? He have a smooth, comfortable, very comfortable bed. Number one. The food comes to him innocently. He doesn't have to work for the food. Number three, oxygen comes to him. He doesn't have to do anything. He has everything is done for him. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even the mother is protecting him. So everything is this is the word rahmah. Sustenance coming to you. So when you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you apply what He said, it's all for your why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala putting all these laws? For your protection. For your protection. You see, for example, the bank. Okay? You call them, they ask you so many questions. Oh, it's for your protection, sir. So nobody can have identity theft. It's for you. The same thing. Allah put these laws on earth. No alcohol, no gambling, no stealing, no cheating, no fornication, no adultery, no. For your protection. He let you do everything, but some stuff are restricted. For your protection. إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا Indeed, He is the one who's going to take care of you. So Allah, in other words, why you give your loyalty to the shaitan? Why you give your loyalty to the shaitan, to the devil, who will ruin. And I don't see anybody, I never see in my life, I'm not that old, but in life or in history, who followed anything other than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came with, and he became successful. Ever. Never, and it will never gonna happen. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala since day one, He has what? He has His laws and regulations and policies. Follow me, you'll have rahmah, you'll be successful. You know, and we said before that rahmah doesn't mean, and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't mean money, doesn't mean kids. No. A lot of people have the money, they have the houses, they have billions, but he cannot sleep at night. You know, we have so many instances. Somebody like Michael Jackson used to have so much money, whatever, but he used to get injections to sleep at night. He can't sleep. You know, so Allah. So this is when you are away from Allah, nothing is going to give you comfort. You know, أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.